Hello there, Drew Hanish of Whiskey Lore, and time for another whiskey tasting. And today, going to talk a bit about the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof series and give you a little bit of information on how to read the labels of these to understand the differences from one whiskey to the next, and also to do a tasting of one of my older bottles of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. That is the C920. So, first thing to talk about with the barrel proof is that it is 12-year-old whiskey. So this bottle that I have is from 2020, which means that this was distilled in 2008. And that was before the bourbon boom. So it'd be very interesting to see if there's a lot more supply of these barrel proofs going forward, because if they have to wait 12 years, bourbon boom didn't really start kicking in until probably 2010, 11, 12, then maybe they had an uptick in how much of this that they were producing as demand started to increase within the bourbon world. So right now, these can be a little bit tough to find. Bottles will retail around 60. I paid 66 for this. But then again, if they're rare, they're hard to find, then they're going to get on the secondary market, and liquor stores are going to take advantage, and you're going to start seeing prices that are going to jump up depending on what state you're in and how much they control prices. So I did find this when it first came out in September of 2020 and purchased it as quickly as possible so that I didn't miss out on my opportunity. Now, I thought that maybe, because I had not gotten that second bottle, or gotten that a full bottle of the 520, the B520, which was amazing. I mean, I had a sample of that. It was just incredible. I thought, well, next bottle of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof should be amazing also. And this one, my opinion on it was a little low, and I think the reason my opinion on it was a little low is because the alcohol stood out a little bit more on this one, and the B520 was so exceptional in the flavors that I got. It hit all the points. It was dark chocolate in there. It was marshmallows. It had a nice grain flavor to it. The oak was not overly intense on it. And the alcohol was not really overly present in that bottle, and it was just so good that anything else that I had after it, I think, was bound to be a letdown. Well, I have had, as you can see, a decent amount out of this bottle as I've gone, and so we're going to do a retasting of it here and kind of get into what I am tasting in this particular bottle, but also wanted to talk to you a little bit about, again, the makeup of barrel proof, and if you are looking for a bottle, what times of the year to kind of go out and look for them, and how to read the numbering system, because each one of them will have a letter and a 3-digit code afterwards. What do those mean? Well, you'll detect a pattern if you start looking at the bottles over time. They go A, B, and C. So every year they have 3 different picks for the year. The A is usually going to come from January. The B is going to come from May. And the C is going to come from September. And so that's why the first digit that you see is either a 1, is the 1 or is it 2? Okay, now I'm forgetting. Is it a 1 or is it 2? I've not owned a 1, so that's why I don't know. But anyway, that first number relates to the month. And so the 5 being May, this one being September because it's a 9, and then the last 2 digits are the year. And so that's 20. So this being C920 means that this is from September. This is the 3rd batch of the year, and it came out in September of 2020. Now this and the 2020 batches were all high proof. They moderated quite a bit in terms of proof in 2021. This sucker is 66.4% alcohol by volume, 132.8 proof. Is that too much? Well, the proof is in the tasting. So, gonna dive in, do a tasting on this. Now, this is a 12-year-old whiskey. All the Elijah Craig barrel proofs are 12 years old. On the note, on the nose, the oak is definitely out front. There is a nutty character to this. There's an alcohol note that comes in. There's a sawdust kind of a note that comes in. Vanilla is coming through on that. Sometimes you'll start pulling in a little bit of a tobacco or a leather note that's coming from that older aged whiskey, but yeah, it's there. It's there. I actually even get like a little baby powder kind of a smell on this one. It's definitely not one that you want to suck in with you breathe in too hard with your nose, because I'm feeling the tingling and I am drawing in pretty subtly. I'm going to drink it full strength initially, just to kind of get my first impression, but I definitely will add some water to this one because it is a little bit strong. Oak is very prevalent on that. The tobacco comes through, a little char, leather on the finish, little caramel, but I can't get past the burn, man. Holy crap. Wow. Okay. Look, and I drink full proof stuff a lot. There's a little berry note there on the end. Interesting. In that amount, I put in about 2 milliliters worth of water with my piquette. Now, you probably, once you add some water in, especially that much, you should let it rest for a little bit. It's 12-year whiskey. It should sit around for about 12 minutes anyway before you sip it. Let's see, though. I don't have time, unless you want to sit here for the next 12 minutes while I stare. I could do like Nick Offerman, sit in my chair, moving in front of a fireplace, not doing anything but looking at my scotch. Yeah, nuttiness still very prevalent there. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, I was actually a little insulted, actually. As I was sitting there talking with this distiller, he poured me a sample, and I didn't put any water in it. He said, aren't you going to put any water in? And I said, no. And he said, well, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but you really should put water in your whiskey, because when you put even a drop of water in, it just creates an explosion of fragrance. Okay. I have not had that. I've never experienced an explosion. I have experienced something opening up a little bit. And yes, I probably should put a couple drops of water in occasionally, just because I don't do it at all. And maybe I should, but these are opinions. And yes, maybe there is a bit of opening that goes up on some whiskeys, but I don't know that that affects every whiskey that I've ever had. Nuttiness, the sawdust, that's all still there. The vanilla's kind of disappeared a little bit. Baby powder's disappeared. Now it's much more of a kind of a char smoke kind of a thing coming in. Definitely easier to hold on the palate. Maybe a little cocoa nut comes through. cocoa note comes through. A little cola note there. Caramel lightly. Definitely easier to drink. Still burning going down, but it's not quite as aggressive. Alcohol flavor, char, still there. A little bit on the finish. I'm gonna put even a little more water in there. Let's just see. Can I dilute it down to get it down to 40 proof? No. Okay, I actually got a little more of like almost like a cherry scent coming out of that. Oh wow. An explosion. Oh, I can actually fully draw in, which is nice. I'm still smelling a lot of oak though, and a lot of the leather notes, and it's I mean, at 12 years, bourbon, once it gets to 12 years, for me, not a huge fan of overly oaked whiskeys. It just kind of, it loses me at a certain point. And I'm kind of on that edge. Sawdust is now kind of disappearing. One more sip. Caramel's coming through a lot more with that water. And the oakiness is pulling back a little bit. A little of that cherry note comes in. And char. Yeah. I don't know that my opinion has changed on this very much. I looked at a website where they ranked 2020's whiskeys, and they put this number 1, and they put B520 as number 3. And I'm like, I'm the other way around. Sorry. I'm going to go with, I'm definitely going to go with B520 big time over this. This is good. It's not as alcohol forward as I remember it being, but it still is very oaky. So if you're into oak, then this one will work for you. For me, I'm just not that much into large amounts of oak in my bourbons. So there you go. Anyway, that's me. What do you think? Have you had the Barrel Proof series? What do you think? Is there one that you appreciate more than others in that series? Do you think the 2021 series is an improvement over the 2020 because it's a bit lower proof, or do you want the higher proofs? Opinions welcome. Comment section below. Would love to hear from you, and like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more of them. Ring the bell if you want to know immediately when I post the videos. Appreciate you being here, and until next time, cheers and Slanjava. Very oaky. Merle Haggard would love this. It's oaky.